Awesome. Now that we've started recording, we're going to go over some initial just webinar information. The webinar is being recorded, as I said. We're recording the presentation. After it's concluded, we're going to stop the recording and we're going to field any questions in sort of a question and answer session. The recording will be uploaded to the IUB website in our records and information section, how to file a utility annual report page. We're going to use the Q&A feature today to ask questions. So you should see in your WebEx dashboard there a Q&A box in probably the lower right-hand corner. Make sure you're asking all panelists when you're submitting your question, and so the folks I have here with me in the room today can capture those questions. We're also going to be posting a webinar survey after the event, and we would love it if you filled out that survey and gave us any feedback that you may have. Also, just sort of up front here today, any IUB 24/7 and annual report support can be found at itsupport@iub.iowa.gov. We'll get back to you, usually within the day, within a few hours. We also have our customer service phone numbers down there at the bottom. You can give us a call and we'll also help you that way. So getting into our agenda here, we're going to go over how to register in IUB 24/7, how to get connected to your company in IUB 24/7 if you're not connected today, how to review and update your company profile, how to review and submit your annual report if applicable to your company, resources for IUB 24/7, then we're going to go over that question and answer session and take that post-webinar survey. So without further ado, how to register. So if you're not registered in IUB 24/7, you can go to iub247.iowa.gov and click register. It's also available from the IUB website underneath our quick links section. You're going to go ahead and click register. It doesn't matter which registration link you click, they both take you to the user registration page. If you're having trouble registering, you can also call IUB customer service. We can send you a system invite, which will send you an email invitation to the system. You can follow the link and register as a user. Just a note here, your IUB 24/7 email and password is also your EFS login. So when you create your IUB 24/7 account, an EFS account is also created, and that email and password is shared across those accounts. So you don't have to keep track of two different accounts with the IUB. So going into the IUB 24/7 website, we're on a test site today. So you're seeing a different URL than you would see normally, the iub247.iowa.gov. You can see the user registration links down here. There's also a how to create a user profile guide if you need some more step-by-step instructions. You can log in and you can search for utility or company information without logging in. Another option and a way to contact us is by sending us an email through our IUB 24/7 homepage. That'll go to the IT support inbox and we will reach out to you. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here today. I'm going to be using a test company user that we've set up. So when I go ahead and sign in here, we're going to start off on this dashboard area. We have a few different options here available to us. We can review public company information, which reviews, you can see all of the other companies that are in IUB 24/7 that have profiles with the Iowa Utilities Board. There's some very basic public information from those companies. If you have the permissions, you can create a new company. You can review your company information, manage your own user account profile. So that is your profile, not your company's profile. You can submit a help ticket. That's another way to contact the IUB through IUB 24/7 is submitting a help ticket that goes to our customer service department. Or you can file an EFS, and this link will take you to the electronic filing system to make any filings you need to there. On this left-hand side, you can see we have a few different areas here. If you review the company, if you click your name up in the upper left-hand corner, you can update your account. So your email address, your name. or your profile, such as your telephone number or your address for your personal information with the IUB. In this record section is going to contain all of the information in IUB 24/7. The companies section is where you can find the companies that you are connected to. The search companies section is going to be that area that I talked about before, where you can search all of the different companies in IUB 24/7 that have a profile with the board. We have company access requests, where you can request access to a company profile that you need to manage or update. We have our help tickets that we just talked about, that you can submit questions or issues to the IUB. We have our annual report section, where you can see publicly available annual report information from other utilities. We also have the resources section, where you can find annual report resources and various user resources. We'll go through that towards the end of the presentation. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to click companies. And when we click companies, it's going to show us the companies that you as a user are connected to. So my company admin user up here is connected to 4 companies right now, in all varying company statuses. If I need to be connected to a new company, we'll need to submit a company access request in IUB 24/7. So if I need to be connected to a company that I don't see in my list here today, we can go ahead and submit a company access request in IUB 24/7. The company access request, you can click a new company access request over here. You can input the company name, which is required. So we'll need to know which company you need to be connected to. The IUB company number, if you know the company number that you need to be connected to, we understand that folks don't always know the IUB company number that they need to be connected to, and we'll contact you to understand and make sure you're connected to the company that you need to be. You can also request specific permissions, which we'll go over here in more detail. The company admin permission allows full edit access to the company profile, including the annual report, DPRS submission information. Company submitter will be applicable to those companies that are non-telecom that submit annual reports. Company view only, which provides no edit access, but a contact can view the company profile in IUB 24/7. Or no company access at all, where you want to connect a contact to a company, so the IUB, so we can see that contact information, but you do not want that person to see any of the company information that's submitted in IUB 24/7. So we have that option as well. We'll need a reason for the request. And if you're requesting access on behalf of another person, you can fill out their information below and we'll reach out to them to get them connected. When you submit your company access requests, you'll see them in this index here, and the IUB will reach out as soon as we can to get you connected. So as we talked about getting connected to a company, you can either submit a company access request in IUB 24/7, or if you do not feel comfortable doing that, or you're not sure exactly how to do that, you can email or call the IUB customer service department, and we'd be happy to get you connected to your company. Just a note down here, the IUB will connect you to your company and provide you with those permissions. We have to do this. So there's no way for yourself to connect yourself to a company. You'll have to reach out to the IUB to get connected to your company and to receive those permissions to edit your company. And as we talked about just briefly there, we have different permission groups for users in IUB 24/7. The company administrator can create, edit, update company information. The report submitter will have access to the non-telecom annual reports, but will only have view access to the company record. Company contact view only, very similar, where they only have view access to the company record. And no company access, where the contact will not be able to see the company record at all. So the next part that we're going to roll into is reviewing and updating the company profile. And it's important to remember here that telecommunications companies in IUB 24/7 only have the company profile to update. The annual report and DPRS information, they are not separate forms. They are all contained within the company profile within IUB 24/7. And so we'll see a variety of statuses when we go head back to our company index in IUB 24/7. Annual review required is applicable to all companies in IUB 24/7. We ask that you annually review your company information, to review your contacts and information, make sure they're up to date with us. And for telecommunication companies, that includes the submission of your annual report information and DPRS information if applicable to your company. The status accepted, the company only needs to be edited if changes occur within the company. So you have someone leave the company or someone join the company and you need to add a new contact. We ask that you come into IUB 24/7 and get that contact added to your profile. Changes requiring review, that is a signal to the IUB that the company has made a change to their profile and that we will be reviewing the change. So we'll go head back to our companies page under records here, which remember shows the companies that you are connected to. So I have a few companies in various different statuses. I have a couple of companies that I have to complete my annual review for. And then I have a couple of companies that I've already submitted and completed my annual review for, and they show in that accepted status. We have another telecom company here that has submitted changes to their company profile, and the IUB is reviewing those changes. So the first place that we're going to go when we're taking a look at our company profile is sort of the company view page. We have a couple of options here. We can click on the link to the company, or we can go directly into the company and edit the information. I'm going to start out by just viewing the company information by clicking the link to the company. So here I can see the company view page where I can't edit any of these fields. You'd have to click edit to edit the information in the company profile. But I can view the information that has been previously submitted. So this was the company profile. This information lives in this company year over year and only changes if the company edits the information that's there. If we scroll down in that company profile, one of the things that we can actually find is the annual report information from previous years. So the information that is submitted for annual reporting and DPRS will be saved year over year and will show up at the bottom of the company profile in a record that you're able to click and view. Notice that the status of the last year's company annual report information is in final status, and I'm not able to edit that information. If information does need to be edited for the prior year or years past, please contact us and we will open up that ability to edit that information. We want to just make sure that any changes that we're receiving, more than a year later, we're taking those into account and we're making sure that we're doing what we need to do in regards to those changes. And you can see the status down here, annual review required, and we're going to take care of that here in just a second. So to review my company and update the company information, I'll need to click edit. So we can go ahead and edit this company information. So now I'm editing this company's information and reviewing it. So we're going to select a submission type. We're going to review and update the company record. That should be done between January and April 1st of each year. There is also an option called final, and that is if your company is no longer doing business in the state of Iowa under the current corporate structure, or will no longer be regulated by the Iowa Utilities Board due to the service offerings provided. And once approved, once reviewed by the IUB, the company record will be moved to a status called inactive, and those reporting requirements and year-over-year requirements will not apply to the company anymore. And so if you have any questions about, if your company should be going final or is going final, you can always reach out to the IUB customer service department and we'll get those questions answered as soon as we can. So in this case, my company is just going to be reviewing and updating my company information. So I can come down here, all of the information is saved from last year. So we want you to review it, make sure it's up to date. If there was any name changes in the organization, any changes in your address, we want to make sure we capture those changes during this time. You can review your confidential information, which includes your employer identification number, by clicking the small I here. And then we also want you to review the current regulatory offerings, or current service offerings that you've elected in your IUB company profile. This information was also saved from last year, so we want to review and make sure that anything that has changed, you want to get it updated. Let's say you've been designated as an ETC in the past year. We want you to make sure that that's marked in your IUB company profile. The next section, we want you to review your telecom company contacts. And it's really important that you review your contacts every year because these are the people that the IUB is going to reach out to when, on a variety of matters or issues. So we want to make sure that these are up to date as much as possible. And we're going to take a look at those different contact types here in the presentation. So regulatory contacts. Those contacts can receive various docket information from the IUB and could receive regulatory related communications from the IUB. So we want to make sure that those folks are, listed appropriately, to receive any phone calls or communications from the IUB. Emergency contacts. This is not your customer emergency contact. We want to make sure, we have the contact on file for potentially coordinating statewide emergency events. We want to make sure that we have that person on file that we can reach out to. Billing contacts. The billing contacts will receive IUB invoices. So these are not your customer billing contacts again. We want to make sure this person knows that they are going to be receiving IUB invoices, especially when we issue the remainder assessments towards the end of the year, if applicable to your company. Customer relations contacts. These are the contacts that are going to receive inquiries from the IUB related to customer complaints, not your customer service complaint line. So we want to make sure that you're reviewing those contact types. Those are the people that the IUB is going to reach out to, not your customers are going to reach out to. So those people are all applicable here in this company profile. I'm not going to change any of those. You do have the option to change those. You can select anybody that is currently connected to the company profile. Or if the contact is brand new to IUB 24/7 and that user does not have an account in IUB 24/7, you can go ahead and click New. And you can go ahead and create a new contact in your company for your company profile. Every single contact in the IUB 24/7 needs to have a unique email address in the system. If a user already exists in the system with an email address, it's going to provide you an error and let you know that that contact cannot be created. In that case, you're going to want to reach out to customer service or submit a company access request to get that contact added to your company. When you create a new contact, you also have the option to assign them groups, and these groups are the permissions that we talked about previously. You can make those contacts company admins, you can make them company view only, or you can provide them no company access so it does not show up when they go to their companies in IUB 24/7. You'll have to fill out the rest of the information in the profile and go ahead and click update, and that'll get that new user created. The next section, this is unique and specific to telecommunications companies. If your company is required to report an annual registration and reporting of revenues to the IUB via the utility annual report, you'll have to complete this section. If it is not applicable to your company, this section will not display in IUB 24/7. It will not show up. If you have any questions about when something gets displayed or when companies are required to submit annual reports, we ask that you send those to our IT support at iub.iowa.gov or our communications department, and we will have staff reach out and get back to you to answer some of those questions. So basic questions in the annual report and reporting of revenues, customer notification to be completed, your Iowa gross operating revenues for revenue producing lines during the previous calendar year. If you have revenue producing lines from the previous calendar year, and how many revenue producing lines do you have, including voice over internet provider. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and put in some information here. I'm going to say I made $1,000 last year and I only had 10 lines. I have no idea if that is accurate or not as far as a telecom company goes. The next section that we're going to have is our dual party relay service line count annual report. So this moved to an annual reporting requirement last year in 2020. And this is the first year, 2021 is the first year, 2022 is the first year that we are going to be collecting these on an annual basis. You're going to have, if your company is wireline and wireless, you're going to have two separate sections show up here. Otherwise, you'll just be required to fill out the section that is showing. You're going to have to show the line counts at the end of each month, every year, and you'll receive an invoice from the IUB based on the DPRS assessment that is applied. And you're going to want to make sure, going back to that invoice is going to be sent to the billing contact for the company. So you really want to make sure those company contacts are up to date and the right person is going to be receiving the invoice from the IUB. If you have any special case scenarios where you have multiple billing contacts, we ask that you reach out to us and we can make sure that we identify those in our system, in our billing system. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some information in here. You can kind of just tab through it. Make sure you're in the right month. So you're reporting for the prior calendar year. The next is the unclaimed property report. This is required from all companies that have to submit the annual review of their company profile. We report this information to the state treasurer for the fiscal year ending last year. So in this case, I'm going to say 0. And if I report 0, do we have a procedure in place? I'm going to say yes, we do. And then we have the option for an email confirmation of acceptance of the annual review. Automatically in the system, the submitter of the company profile will receive an email that the company profile has been updated. This is an option to provide an email confirmation to anybody else that you'd like to receive an email from the system. You can list 2 different email addresses here, and they will receive confirmation that the telecommunications company profile, including annual report information and DPRS information, if applicable, has been updated for your company for the prior calendar year. We also have our backup emergency contact section, which is new this year. We want to make sure that any emergency contacts at the company or utility are identified. This is completely optional, but we wanted to provide the option for those to list any different phone numbers or types that you might have, such as a satellite phone, pager, landline, in case any communications were to potentially go down during a statewide emergency. This would help us identify the individuals that we can reach out to at the utility if needed. The last piece of information that is required is the certification. The certification is that you've reviewed the company record above. It is, to your knowledge, complete and accurate, and that any company changes that occur throughout the year will be also submitted throughout the year. So if you submit this in February this month, and you come in June and you've had a contact change, we really want to make sure that you're coming back into IUB 24/7, you're updating that contact information so we have the most up-to-date information in the company record. I'm going to go ahead and certify that this company record has been updated and is accurate to the best of my knowledge. Down here, you can add any additional company contacts if you'd like to the company profile. So if a contact, is not listed above, or there's additional contacts to the ones listed above, you can go ahead and add those at this time and assign the contact type to them. I'm going to go ahead and click Update Company, and this is going to submit my company profile information, including the annual report and registration and DPRS information, if applicable to your company. So as we talked about, that information is included in the company profile. You're going to want to fill out all the required fields or you're going to receive an error in IUB 24/7. You're going to click Update at the bottom of the form just to complete that review and submit it to the IUB. All of these companies that are submitted to the IUB will be reviewed by IUB staff. We are not auditors, but we do like to do common sense sort of checks against last year's information to make sure that it is reported, we believe it's reported, to the most accurate way possible. So it is possible that during that review, the IUB could reach back out to the company and ask follow-up questions, to the annual report that was submitted. So now I can see that my company was successfully updated. If I scroll down, I can see that company status has moved to accepted, and I can see that there's changes requiring review, which means that the IUB is reviewing the submission that you've just completed. So there's no more action required from a company perspective. You go in and you can update that company profile. The IUB will review that profile and that submission and revert back with any questions that we may have. And that pretty much completes the update of the telecommunications company profile for the prior year. You can go back to your company's list and take a look at other, if you are a consultant or an outside attorney for the company or anything like that, you can look at the various other companies that you've managed and take a look at their company statuses to make sure that all those companies are submitted. So taking a look at some of the resources for IUB 24/7, we have our IUB website, records and information section, IUB, information about IUB 24/7. And this is general information about IUB 24/7. You can see in our records and information tab, information about IUB 24/7. We also have an IUB 24/7 for telecommunications companies on our website, and our dual party relay service assessment webpage as well. So we can see under regulated industries, telecommunications, and we have our DPRS webpage, and we have our IUB 24/7 webpage. This information, the information contains frequently asked questions about telecommunications in IUB 24/7, how to submit and update your company profile, and any code requirements relating to telecommunications. Within IUB 24/7, we also have a resources section, and you can find annual reporting and report resources or user resources in there. So we'll head over to the resources section in IUB 24/7. If we head over to the user resources page, there's quite a bit in there. There's navigation in IUB 24/7. There's a telecommunications guide to updating the company record, which includes a much more detailed step-by-step walkthrough on some of those fields and that information. There's also a frequently asked questions document and a couple other recordings in here if you're setting up a new company in IUB 24/7, for example. And you can always reach out via IUB 24/7 help tickets. You can reach out via our email address here at itsupport@iub.iowa.gov. Or you can give our customer service department a call at the numbers listed on our website or that I displayed earlier. That concludes the demonstration and presentation portion of today's webinar. We're going to go ahead and answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording of the webinar at this time.